into the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, which was founded in 1971 to help protect the wildlife we're going to see here today. Now, if you're going to be taking pictures or videos while we're on safari, make sure you hold on to the strap of your camera as tightly as possible. Once we enter the reserve, we will not be allowed to stop and pick up dropped items. Womp womp. Now, I already pointed out that game spotting guide up above you. And again, we won't see all of the animals on that guide. We also will not stop for every single animal we see because hopefully we'll see way too many. And when we do stop, please do not stand. I can ask you to sit down in 3 languages, though I'd rather not. All right, and Karabuni are welcome to the Little Ituri Forest. Okay, to our right, there's an animal with striped front and hind legs. That is an okapi. The okapi looks like a zebra because of its stripes. However, it's actually a relative of the giraffe, which is evident in its skull structure. As well as its very long tongue, you may notice that it's kind of hiding on us. That's not shocking. The okapi is typically very shy. So shy, in fact, that they weren't found by Western civilizations until 1901, which is pretty recently in the grand scheme of things for such a large animal. Alright, we're now rounding this watering hole. It's a popular hangout spot for many animals. You never know what you'll find here. Some drivers can even spot black rhino. We may not be so lucky. There's actually less than 5,000. There's less than 5,000 in the world, and we are going to see one over to our left. They're hunted nearly to extinction for their horn, which is made out of keratin, the same material as your hair and fingernails, so it seems a little silly to hunt them for that. On our left and right, these black and white and yellow and orange birds are the saddle-billed stork. They are the tallest stork in Africa. They can grow up to 5 feet in height with around an 8-foot wingspan, which is about the width of this truck, so pretty impressive. They are the largest stork in Africa. But a lot of those forest animals are doing a really, really good job at hiding from us. Ooh, to our left there are bongo, reddish-brown animals with white stripes and horns. And they also go by the name ghost of the forest because they're similar to the okapi in the sense that they are very, very shy. And a lot of those forest animals are. So we're going to go just around the river bend and see what we can find over at the Sapi River. Maybe there we'll find someone a little more outgoing. Now, any bubbles or dark spots we may see in the Sapi River could be a hippopotamus. The hippopotamus can weigh up to 5,000 pounds. There's ones out of the water to our right. They are excellent swimmers, though they do prefer to just walk along the bottom of the riverbed. Now, they're nocturnal. They'll come out in the evenings to eat up to 150 pounds of grasses and leaves. The name of a group of hippos is a bloat of hippos. There's also those large gray and white birds with the long pale yellow bills to our left. Those are the pink-backed pelicans, and the pink-backed pelicans get their name because during their mating season, the feathers on their back will turn my favorite color, pink. Everybody remember to remain calm and seated. To our left, there is a congregation or group of crocodile. The Nile crocodile can grow up to 20 feet in length. They've got 2,000 pounds of bite pressure per square inch of that powerful jaw. They can run at speeds of up to 10 miles an hour on land. And they terrify me so twinde, which means let's go. Why don't we see if we can find someone a little bit friendlier, shall we? I'm the one driving, so I say we shall. To our right, we have a baobab, or upside down tree. The upside down tree gets its name because it almost looks like it has roots sprouting from the top of that tree. That is not the case though. It only gets that appearance because it remains leafless for all but 3 months out of the year. This is my favorite view of the whole reserve. This is the Serengeti grasslands. And the Serengeti grasslands act as a super highway for millions of migrating animals every year. This is part of the beautiful Africa we are trying so hard to protect. Now, this environment around us is very much a product of the animals who live here. Elephants will act as bulldozers, knocking down tall trees to eat their roots, releasing a lot of the seeds in the process. Giraffes will nibble from the top of tall trees, which will let sunlight in. Sunlight will grow the grass, and grass will be eaten by nature's lawnmower, large grazing animals. While smaller grazers, like warthogs, will nibble at the edges of that grass. The point of my story is that in a balanced ecosystem, there's enough food to go around for everybody. To our left, we're going to see an animal with incredibly long horns. That is the Ankole or Watusi cattle. The horns on those cattle can grow 6 feet in length, 20 inches in circumference, which is really impressive, but it's hiding right back there. And they're named after the Watusi tribe who first domesticated them. The grayish animal to our left, standing on its own, is a waterbuck. The waterbuck loves this weather. They excrete a waterproof coating onto their hide. However, that coating's kind of smelly, which might be why he's alone. Those tiny little animals to our left with the cinnamon-colored upper bodies and white underparts are springbok. Springbok get their name because when they're frightened, they will jump 9 to 11.5 feet in the air. These large red mounds around us that look like big red rocks are called termite mounds. Termite mounds are made by termites. They bake in the sun all day until they get to be about as hard as cement, at which point taller termite mounds will be used by elephants as scratching posts. The smaller termite mounds will be used as perches on which smaller animals can stand to see predators in the tall grass. Reddish-brown animals with the white bottoms and the curled back horns. Those are the sable antelope. And the sable antelope are the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. So they're actually on our sign. Both the male and female sable have those horns. They'll use them in displays of dominance. These gray animals with the short curled horns, you can kind of see the difference. They've got the darker tails, are the white-bearded wildebeest, also called the gnu, spelled G-N-U, because that is the noise they make. Oh, and to our left there are giraffes. Okay, to our left there are 2 giraffes. The one on the left, to the left, is a Maasai giraffe. It's hiding on us now. The Maasai giraffe has a jagged, irregular spot pattern. The one that's walking away now is a reticulated giraffe. Reticulated comes from the Latin word reticulata, meaning net, referring to the net-like pattern of that giraffe's hide. So its spots are very smooth and even and regular. Over to our right, there's a sandy-colored animal with curling horns. That's the Patterson's eland. The eland is the tallest antelope on the reserve. It can grow up to 6 feet tall at the shoulders. Both the male and female eland have those horns. But I would definitely guess that's a female based on the size. It looks a little smaller than the males would be. This area is called Monkey Point, so any movement you may see on the rocks or in the trees to your left is probably a mandrill monkey. The mandrill is the largest monkey in Africa. It can weigh up to 100 pounds. Oh, but to our right there's an African elephant. The African elephant can weigh anywhere between 8 and 15,000 pounds. If you ever notice dirt on their back, they'll do something called dusting. where they put dirt on their back to protect their sensitive skin from the sun, like using a natural sunscreen for them. And I would definitely guess this is the male or bull elephant, based on the fact that it's on its own. The females will stick together with the young, while the males will leave the herd at about 14 years of age and live on their own, or in small all-male groups. Now, many people assume that because of the elephant's large size, it must be indestructible. This couldn't be further from the case, though. The greatest threat that elephants face today is humans. Humans poach them for their beautiful ivory tusks and encroach on their territory while mining for coltan, a metal found in electronics. By donating old cell phone and laptop batteries, you can do your part to help the elephant. Okay, this bridge is pretty old, so it's going to make a lot of loud crackling noises, but I've perfected the art of getting across it unscathed, so we'll be fine today. I can promise you that much. Besides, it just got a fresh layer of duct tape. No, really, we're going to be fine. See, I told you we'd be fine. Lucky for you, I'm such a good driver. I hate to see what could have happened there. I feel like that probably could have been really ugly. Okay, to our right, there are elephant tusk marks in that red clay pit. Elephants will use their tusks, which both male and female elephants have, in order to eat that red clay. Similar to them to taking a multivitamin for humans. They get a lot of nutrients from that clay they couldn't otherwise get from their diet of all plant life and vegetation. I hope you don't mind if I listen to some music coming through here. It can be nice to have. I like to sing to the animals, but I'll spare you that one today. Here we've got another one of those upside down trees on our left and right. And I think at this point we've found some more elephants up ahead. And on our left, we're rounding a flamboyance or flock of greater flamingo. The greater flamingo are the tallest and the lightest shade of pink of any flamingo. They get their color from their diet, which is high in beta-carotene, found in shellfish such as the flamingo's favorite, brine shrimp. So until about a year of age, the flamingo is actually gray and fuzzy and not very pink at all, but still very, very cute. They're also my absolute favorite animal on the reserve because they're my absolute favorite color. We've got some pieces from the Harambe Art Museum to our right. Finger painted a few of those myself. To our left, there are mud pits, or mud wallows. Those are a really good sign there was probably rhino in this area at one point or another. The rhino used to be a huge success story on the reserve. We thought they were completely safe and protected, but unfortunately, poachers continue to develop more sophisticated and well-financed means of hunting those beautiful creatures. And also incredibly well financially backed, so our fight for the rhino continues. We're gonna pass really, really close to some ostrich. The ostrich are the largest flightless bird. When they're flightless, they can run at speeds of 35 to 40 miles an hour for extended periods of time. Oh, wow, on those rocks to our left, there are cheetah. The cheetah is incredibly fast. They can run at speeds of up to 60 miles an hour for very brief periods of time, only a few short seconds before they have to slow. But they're the only large cat to hunt during the daytime, and that sun's still pretty high in the sky, so we're gonna keep moving. They hunt during the daytime because they have excellent eyesight, which they rely on very, very heavily. These small brown and white animals to our left are bontebok. Bontebok are completely extinct in the wild. They only exist on reserves like this one today. So we're pretty lucky to get a good view of them. translates to little heads. Sometimes you can spot lions up on copies. The lions are inactive for about 20 hours of the day. That's not to say they're sleeping. They're aware of everything going on around them, just choosing not to do too much about it. However, if they find a spot that they're comfortable in, they don't really move around that much. So if they found a spot where we can't see them, it looks like we're out of luck for today. To our left, these large holes are warthog burrows. There's two warthogs. The warthog is the largest burrowing animal. They back into their burrows to show off their razor-sharp tusks to attackers. Both the male and female warthog have those tusks. On our left, we have a small clutch of ostrich eggs. The ostrich lay the largest of any bird egg. The ostrich egg can weigh up to 3 pounds, with the largest ostrich laying the largest egg. On our right, we have a white rhino. And the white rhino get their name not from their color, but from a mistranslation of the Afrikaans word "weit," meaning wide, referring to their wide jaw. And the rhino are another favorite of mine.
Departure 3 is the job. Departure 3 is the job.
We're now entering this area called Magani Glen. Magani Glen is the newest area to the reserve. And I've heard rumors through Harambe that a herd of addicts have been migrating up this way. I'm not seeing too many. They might still be hiding. There's one over to our right. We don't want to stop. We don't want to frighten it. The addicts are a type of desert screw-horn antelope, and the really, really interesting thing about them is that if they need to, they can go indefinitely without water. But they prefer not to, and they obviously do not have to here. Sadly, there are less than 400 addicts in the wild today. Less than 1,000 in captivity and on reserves like this one. Reserves like us work very, very hard at trying to protect those addicts and make sure those numbers go up. And unfortunately, this is just about the end of our 2-week safari through Africa. Weird how it only felt like 20 minutes. I don't know how that happened. I guess time flies when we're having fun. Now, if you want to see more animals, there are some scattered all throughout the park, but make sure you do it quick because animal exhibits close at 7:45 tonight. So you're definitely going to want to try and sneak those in. I bet you have time for one last safari. No two safaris are ever the same. The animals make sure of that one. Now the drivers help a little bit too. Now you're going to want to check around you for any dropped items. Things like wallets, cell phones, cameras. They fall out of pockets all the time. I know how bumpy it is on safari. This truck is going to go directly out on another 2-week safari, and 2 weeks is a long time to go without those things if you need them. So make sure you grab them. Alright, we're just going to be pulling up to this dock in a second. Here in Harambe, we never say goodbye. Goodbye is far too final and far too sad. So instead we use the Swahili phrase, kwaherini, which means to go well. And in just a second, it's going to be kwaherini for us, folks. I hope you've enjoyed your safari. I know I've certainly enjoyed having you. Make sure you come back and visit real soon. Jumbo Warden.
Hold. Doors on the right will be opening. Watch your hands and fingers if you're on the right. Watch your step down. And please take your personal belongings with you.
Quaharini, everyone, asante so much
Quaharini.
for traveling with me.
Steve.
I'm off at 8:30.
What?
I'm off at 8:30.
Yeah, should I hang around and get the bus with you or something?
It's up to you.